Anyway, the off season. Although I did forget to hit save. I don't know what to do with this team in terms of like a coach or style, player types. Like we tried a couple different things over the course of last year. Roman Cechmanek can go. Jeff Brown, we are definitely going to sign. And we will just give you all of the money and all of the term, and that way whoever gets you in the future will be happy. Lethal will be lost in the second round of the Canucks. Let's go for Svoboda. I'll just sign him to relative to what he wants. It's fine. Sandis Ozolinsh for the moment. I do want to keep him around. You guys are overloading me with questions at a bad time. Marty McSorley can go. Zdeno Chara will finally sign his ELC. We're going to keep Ryan Rafalski. We'll keep Tamander for the AHL. Kevin Guy, you are out of here. Boo. Can go. Jeff Chikrin can go. And I'm not worried about any of these dudes. They're just going to get flipped. Steve Thomas. Let's just try to sign him for relative asking price. Pat Falloon, I'd like to keep you around, although maybe I wouldn't because you're a sniper that doesn't shoot. We'll qualify Shane Doan and Matt Barnaby. Left wing side, John LeClaire. Again, I don't know if John LeClaire is sticking around, but it'd be good to have him as an option. Same for Murray Craven. Patrick Eliash, we will qualify. Jeff Courtnall, who again just absolutely killed me in the playoffs. We'll qualify Shatan. Hoagland and Simon can go for now. I want to see what options we have, but we're going to let those two go. Let's keep Breland. Keep Loxonen. And then at center, Rod Brindamore, who was really good for us. Can't deny that. I just don't know if he's the right choice for number one center. To be honest, it might be Datsuk already. It might just be worth turning it over to the youth. Keep LaPerriere. Sign Danny Briere to his ELC. Metropolitan can stay. Sean Bates. Stefan Yell. Football! John Madden can stay. Peter Angelo. Q. So we won't be signing him. Okay. Signed. Did anybody reject the contract? It doesn't look like it. So the only UFAs are Hoagland and Simon, who we are going to let go of. Shimicus, welcome back. Bunch of RFAs. Okay. So, free agents this year. We'll get some of our RFAs accepting qualifying offers first. There's Madden, Yell, LaPerriere, Barnaby, Commander, Breland. Most of our coaching staff just had their contracts expire as well. Is there anybody actually out there in free agency is the first question. UFAs, because we can't afford to sign RFAs. Shimicus, I've tried. It's going to take a long time, you know. In terms of goalies, we do have Patrick Waugh. I just don't know, as absurd as it is, if he's worth investing in. But for medium starters, there's a trio here, including Cristobal Huet, who we had before, Jim Carey, who we had before, that can still get a bit better, and even Manny Legacy at 25 years old, we can still look to bring Legacy in. That would bring us up to 4 goalies on roster. There's going to be a bunch of fringe options, but none that I want. I didn't bring back Ron Tugnut before, and I feel like I've regretted it ever since. His short time here in San Jose, he actually did okay. But because of Carey and his ability to get better, I think we're going to leave it for the moment just because I don't know what the hell I'm doing with Patrick Waugh and in general. Defensively, like Nick Hovland could still get better, but there's really no medium 4s left. There's a couple of low 4s, but obviously that potential is big trash garbage. So defensively, there's nobody amazing out there. And there are some like very solid defensemen, Dan McGillis, Daryl Sador, Darian Hatcher, and Steve once scored on his own goal. Smith. Bruce Driver has tape to tape at his age. I think we can hold off because we can pretty much acquire anybody that we might want to use. Ray Shepard and Andrei Kovalenko are both available. So is Bill Guerin. Knubel and Glenn Murray, both power forwards at 25. It's not bad, but we already have so many people. Left wing side. No real prospects left. Karpenloff, Donato. Donato being an 86 overall third liner is nuts. Former Bruin Ted Donato. That is a very good. Then again, there's a couple of 86 overall third liners, which is a really high rating. When you look at forwards, Kovalenko's a third line sniper, but he puts up more assists than goals. Don't like that. I can't guarantee Garpenloff a spot. There's Adam Crichton. Shout out to Brian Danielson. Shout out to Tommy Dreamer. Adam Crichton is a power forward, doesn't fit. Donato could be a really good fit for this team. What about Straka? He is a playmaker, but he doesn't put up a ton of points. He does have abilities, though. Is it Brent Gilchrist? It is. Not a bad two-way. I think at the very least, Ted Donato would be a pretty savvy signing for us. So Burr, Craig as a third-line caliber grinder. There's Strakowski. Again, there are definitely some players that are worth signing, but we have so many dudes on the roster already that are going to have to be traded at some point. So, let's see what we can do. We got to bring in a bunch of coaches this year. Apparently, Froats has turned into a goalie specialist. Not sure when that happened, buddy. But fair enough. Let's see. Lockhart is NHL coach. Just try to give him a boatload of money. A boatload. The throat goat, indeed. At least the scroll's faster than it used to, but it's still not fast enough. Let's see, we need Geispers, Gene Geispers, who was previously with our team. It's indicated by our frickin' regular season record, which has been great, but we've had no playoff success. Sign Geispers. AHL head coach Brandon Sawchuk. I mean, most of these guys have been with our coaching staff for the past couple of seasons. Now it's just figuring out how we want to build the team. Like, again, like balanced player type, stuff like that we started to look at, and then outright stacking the team hasn't really worked either. I am still going to need 2 more coaches, but they're going to be AHL levels, so I don't really care. And then in terms of scouts, I do not know how many open spots we have. A lot. A lot. That sucks. All right, Desjardins. Go for Peter Stastny. Ariel Thomas. Why these coaches look like they're going to ask me about my search history? Sounds like you want someone to ask you about your search history. Jay Bowmeister. Jalen Bowmeister. Technically, Jay Bowmeister. Okay, that's the 9 that we need. So not too much for us to do in free agency. We just got to figure out what the hell the best version of this team is that we can put forward. Froatgoat's back. Lockhart rejected. Geispers is back. Sawchuk. That's good enough. I don't have to worry about the rest of the coaches until the pre-season. God, I hate that you have to hit A and acknowledge. You're not my tribal chief. Why do I got to acknowledge all of you one at a time? UA's here. Legacy, Jim Carey, Ted Donato. Patrick Elias gets an offer sheet of a first, a second, and a third. We are going to match that offer. I would rather trade him. There's no way a first-round pick equals his value. Actually, hold on. And Shane Doan gets offer sheeted for a third. Metropolit's back. What is Patrick Elias worth? It's close. In terms of a first-round pick's value, it's close. I mean, that pick could be anybody. It could even be Patrick Elias. I mean, he is a two-way. Murray Craven, in theory, could fit the bill. We just signed Ted Donato for that third-line spot. We might have to take that for Elias. He's only 22, though. He just put up 77 points. He can't shoot worth a damn, apparently. Except for the, silver schnipe. But great defensively, great passer of the puck, pretty solid skater. Probably going to decline it. I think we're going to hold on to him for now and kind of dictate where we want him to go. So we're going to match the offer for Elias. We're definitely going to match the offer for Shane Doan. Falsky's back. Sean Bates get offer sheet. I mean, we'll just hold on to him. We're not going to get any compensation. Loxonen's back. The old Loxonen's back. Chatan's still an RFA. That's fair. And now he's not. I like how we traded away Wayne Gretzky. He goes and wins a cup, and then I have to come crawling back and reacquire. So bad. Let's see. RFAs. Nobody left. Unsigned players. There wasn't anybody that we were worried about bringing in. So what the hell do we want this team to be? Do we want Patrick Waugh to be our guy? We do have Carey and Legacy that could be given opportunities as well. I think we got to give Patrick another chance, but it's not as if I'm confident with him after that horrific performance in the second round against Vancouver. Defensively, Chara is ready. So is Rafalski. So defensively, okay. We know that Chara and Rafalski will probably end up being our third pair, right? And I mean, that's a really, really good third pair. Pronger and Blake can still be our top pair. Even though they were hit or miss together in the playoffs, Rob Blake is still a great point-producing defenseman in this reality. Which leaves Ozolinsh or Svoboda. And Ozo keeps that spot. And then Brown or Konstantinov. And again, Vladdy was good last year as a DFD, but Jeff Brown is still phenomenal. It's got to be Jeff Brown. It's got to be. So we know Svoboda and Konstantinov are out, and that will be our defense this year, which has 3 absolutely stellar defensemen. Two-way, two-way, two-way. Every single one of them is a two-way as well. That could be hurting us, but I think I'm willing to risk it because I don't know how many OFDs are even in this freaking database. Let's see, defenseman, player type, offensive defenseman. 89. The best of them is Brian Leach. If it's not Brian Leach, it's Phil Housley, and then nobody else because Tom Curvers is falling off. And Brian Leach would have to be like Chris Pronger plus to get Brian Leach. So for player type's sake, that's just not going to happen. And then for a defensive defenseman, the best of the bunch right now is a generated dude named Cairns, and then after that, it's Brett Hedigan. This guy is an 89 overall at 20 years old for Ottawa, and he doesn't even have anywhere near max value. That is insane. How is that possibly the case? I mean, I'd still take Pronger over him right now, but what the hell? If we were to get rid of Rob Blake, who could I trade him for? Zubov. That's it. That is the only other guy would be Sergei Zubov. You could argue he might be a better fit than Rob Blake. I mean, Blake is going to put up way more points. But Zubov and Pronger might work really well together. They might. Blake and Zubov, I'm keeping Pronger. There's no way I'm moving Chris Pronger. No chance. We are going to have to obviously figure out some things here in terms of who is playing where. So that right wing side, I'm going to call up Barnaby. Send down Courtnall for the moment. So right wing, Bure on the top line, which is the most obvious thing of all time. Pavel Bure is not going anywhere. But we might have to change who's on the top line to make the most of Pavel Bure. Steve Thomas is lined up to potentially be the second line right wing on this team. As a sniper, he has some abilities on this team, or available to us for this team, because Pat Falloon has fallen to a third liner as a sniper, which isn't great. Shane Doan's also a third liner, and then Matt Barnaby for the fourth line. Do I trust 35-year-old Steve Thomas? He was good for the Canucks, man. 8 goals, 16 games, 20 points. He's a pretty prolific playoff performer. Maybe we do trust Steve Thomas. I am going to confirm, though, that Pat Falloon and Shane Doan are out. They just do not fit this team right now. And then we can keep Barnaby on that fourth line for a bit of grit. So Falloon and Doan are out. Left wing side. I fucking hate to say it, but man, Paul Kariya and Pavel Bure cannot be on the same team. At least in the playoffs. Regular season, it worked out well, but in the playoffs, nah. They can't. I mean, Bure's 27. He was almost a goal per game in the playoffs. Kariya's obviously younger. Christ alive, though. Paul Kariya might have to get traded. Eliash is a two-way. You got John LeClaire as a power forward. Gretzky's still a first liner. Datsuk's now a second liner. Maybe we go two-way based on the second line, which would mean Thomas is out. But I think that's not a bad way to go. So if we say we're bailing on Steve Thomas, we look at the left wing side on the second line, where we'll have Patrick Eliash, Pavel Datsuk, and somebody else. which kind of changes my plans again on what I thought we might be doing. Because now, all of a sudden, Pat Falloon or Shane Doan fit in perhaps a little bit better. On that third line, if we have Shatan or Courtnall, Doan or Falloon, we have a center playmaker. We need a center playmaker for the third line, which could work. Christ, we might be able to put Gretzky with Bure, which is insane, but it would mean getting rid of Brindamore. Like I said, this was going to be a matter of finding out what pieces of the puzzle work best. And there could be some wild trades here. Elias Datsuk, a different right wing. So it's center. Third line center. We'd need a playmaker. Then we can keep Shatan or Courtnall. Doan or Falloon. Shatan, not amazing last season. He was pretty bad in the playoffs. Whereas Jeff Courtnall, he's older, but he was fucking phenomenal in the playoffs against us last year. If we kept Courtnall, it would mean keeping Pat Falloon over Shane Doan. Doan has lost his abilities. So if we go with Pat Falloon, that would mean dropping Shane Doan. Left wing side, we'd be dropping Shatan and keeping a veteran in Jeff Courtnall, which we've been lacking a little bit. That would definitely mean trading Murray Craven and Ted Donato to get the most out of them. I hate to say it, man. Paul Correa might be gone. John LeClaire might be gone because I think I could get somebody better than LeClaire. And then we would want physical players on the fourth line. Let's go do a little bit more research here. We're taking a pretty drastic approach here for this next season, but I do think it could work out for us. I need a left-handed first-line power forward to play with Gretzky and Bure, potentially. Well, there's a few of them, but only a few of them. Yager, Domfus, Forsberg, Kevin Stevens, or Brian Ralston, who did not develop a gold once we traded him to Dallas. Kevin Stevens is the oldest of the bunch and would be the easiest to acquire. He does still have a gold. Peter Forsberg is Peter Forsberg. We love us some Peter Forsberg. How did Kevin Stevens do last year? Jesus Christ. He must have been playing with Lemieux and Yager, and we'd be trying to replicate that with him playing with Gretzky and Bure. Forsberg has been on like the second or third line. He hasn't gotten a chance to really break out yet. Vinny Domfus. Obviously, more ideally, a center has a good shot, can pass, he can skate, he can do it all. He's been great in Montreal. And then there's Jaromir Jagr. So, let's see. We got Jagr Pitt. We got Domfus on Montreal. Forsberg on Colorado. Kevin Stevens or Brian Ralston. I'd probably go for Stevens. Okay. So we know what we'd be doing there. I need a second line two-way. That right side. There aren't many. But there are a couple. And it would be either Mike Keane on Toronto, Tony Granato on the Los Angeles Kings, or Jari Lehtinen on Dallas. That would fit that role. Can we put it to a poll? Absolutely not. I need a third line playmaking center. Handedness doesn't matter, but I do want someone who can actually win faceoffs. Give me faceoff rating. Thank you. 85 and up would be awesome, but does that exist? It does. Okay, there's very few, but that exists as well. Also includes Doug Gilmour. Okay, so we would either have Stu Barnes, Dougie Gilmour, Josef Stumpel, Todd White, or Andy McDonald. Okay, that makes sense. And then fourth line forwards. Do we have an enforcer who's good at faceoffs? No, that does not exist. Do we have a grinder out there who is good at faceoffs? We do. That would be Travis Green. Also on Los Angeles. And then we wouldn't need... Whoops. Shout out to Nick Lidstrom being the most valuable person. I would want a fourth line left wing, probably of an enforcer. K-Town, what's up? Kelly Buckberger would be one of those players. What would we have for grinders? 14 of them. Okay. Including Basson, Brad May, Paul Sear, who was with us. Scott Thornton. Former Shark Scott Thornton, who is a free agent. Got Matt Barnaby on the other side. Could be Scott Thornton. All text, what's up? At least we wouldn't have to give anything up for him. So like Basson or Buckberger. Maybe even Brad May. Mayday. No abilities for May. Do any of these guys have abilities? I doubt it, but it would certainly help. Let me double check. Did Kelly Buckberger or King have abilities? No. Okay. I mean, theoretically, it could be a two-way as well. Got Damon Langkow, who's ours. Let's look by overall. Johnson, Draper, Fitzgerald, Pellerin. Any of you guys have abilities at this point? No. Okay. At least we know. So like I said, we got some pretty ridiculous trades coming up. Favorite type of corn? On the cob, popped, cream, or corn the band? Shit. Alex, that's the best question you've asked yet. Shit. Creamed corn is bottom, for sure. Corn on the cob is fantastic. Especially the long way. Popcorn is... God, popcorn, dude. Like, you can't go to the movies and not get fucking popcorn, right? Like, that food's so fucking attached to a certain activity, for God's sakes. I will go popcorn, the band corn, corn on the cob, cream corn. And I like corn the band a lot, but man, it's popcorn, dog. Anyway. So, in terms of the crazy shit I might attempt to do here, Jaromir Jagr is going to be untouchable, especially because we gave up 4 fucking first-round picks to get Paul Kariya, and I am now considering trading him. So I don't think Jagr is going to happen. There was Vinny Damphousse on Montreal. Could happen, but also a bit unlikely. So I think it comes down to Kevin Stevens or Peter Forsberg. Forsberg, I think, is obtainable for this spot this season, and he is dying for a chance to break out. It might even take Paul Kariya plus, which is insane, but that's what we're looking at here. I want to see how close this is. Like, that Paul Kariya move was worth it, but at the same time, I can't stay loyal to it. The question is, how close are their values? And the answer is very, given that they don't want to trade him. Stubbs, what's up, man? I think the hardest part of these rosters is going too stacked because of nostalgia. That is a very accurate observation, Mr. Crash Andrews. By the way, make sure you check out Crash Andrews on the YouTube side of things, especially his new One More Run series that he's got going on. Whether or not it's trying to win one more cup with the likes of Sidney Crosby before he retires, so on and so forth. There you go. Check it out. Honestly, I might have to do a couple of those as well, Crash. We'll see. I might have to give it a shot. All right, so Forsberg, Kariya, 1-for-1. I didn't think it'd be 1-for-1, but it's done. Peter Forsberg for 4 first-round picks. You know what? Win one more. Well, fuck. I don't watch what you put out there. I have a life, dog. And Crash, you just blew a tremendous opportunity to have people go and be like, oh, Tuki got the name wrong. He's an idiot. Instead, you called me an idiot instead of everyone thinking I was an idiot. How old was Paul? Not. He was like 23. But I'm siding with Pavel Bure. It was either a Pavel Bure or a Paul Kariya, and I went with Pavel Bure. Sue me. Sue me. I was hoping to get a little bit back with Forsberg on the deal. But again, I think Forsberg has a chance to just dominate this year. The Toronto Maple Leafs might be our next landing spot. Sid, good evening. Twitch.tv/Sid's Light, of course. Sid, how are you, my favorite trash panda? Hope you're doing well. The Maple Leafs, have we escaped hell any further? Dude, I couldn't get Crash Andrews to play that game again if my life depended on it. He would let me die. He absolutely would. The Toronto Maple Leafs have 2 players here that fit what we need really well. That includes Doug Gilmour and right wing Mike Keane. Neither of whom they want to trade, but these 2 would fit very, very well on our team for this year. So that is going to be the attempt. The question is, who goes? We know Steve Thomas is going to go. Shane Doan's going to go, but I got to look for the more valuable options first. Jeff Brown is staying. It's a deal I might live to regret, but I am looking to move on from Rod Brind'Amour. The Leafs don't necessarily want to move certain picks. I am going to try to safety net this like hell. Brind'Amour for Gilmour, Keane in 3 seconds is obviously too much. What about 2 seconds? What about 1 second rounder and some later picks? Take out that 3rd rounder. Rod Brind'Amour for Gilmour, Keane in a second is still too much, but not by much. We're going to be sending Rod Brind'Amour to Toronto, which is a bold strategy, Cotton, but I'm going to try it. As we acquire Doug Gilmour, Mike Keane, and a 2nd round pick. It makes sense. Well, exactly, because Datsuk is on the rise. He's going to be our first-line center next year. This probably won't be the last of the reshuffling, should we fail to win this year. The perfect fourth-line center for us right now is Travis Green. We just got to find a way to acquire him. We can use Murray Craven to do so. He does not fit this team. I will get whatever I can for draft picks, but they are not giving up much. Take out the 4th. Take out the 5th. So it'll be Travis Green and a 3rd for Murray Craven. Here we go. That works for me. And then the final move in terms of players that we're adding to the roster is we're going to bring in a guy who played a good amount of his career with the San Jose Sharks, and that's going to be Scott Thornton. I think he'll fit this team pretty well. So we still have some other moves that we have to make here, but I'm trying to spec heavily into proper player classes, max line chem, see if it works. And the defense is set. Right wing side is Bure, Keane, Falloon, Barnaby. Thomas and Doan are out. Left wing side is going to be Forsberg, Eliash, Courtnall, and Thornton, meaning Leclerc, Donato, and Shatan are all going. Centers, Gretzky, Datsuk, Gilmore, Green. Let's see what this looks like. And obviously we'll be able to optimize a little bit more with coaches. But just at a base level, that's some pretty damn good chemistry at a base level. Really good center depth with Gretzky, Datsuk, and Gilmore. Top 6 is solid. We got some veterans in there. We got the younger guys in there. We got the grit that we might need. Defense is Pronger, Blake, Ozelinch, Brown, Chara, Rafalski. And again, it's still Patrick Waugh in goal for the moment. I mean, in theory, right? Like, that team should dominate. Whether or not it happens that way is the question. We do still have some assets that we need to trade away here. Not too worried about the goalies. I might get in trouble for moving people too quickly. We'll see. Can I get anything for us? Svoboda. 3rd to 4th and Randy Mahler. 3rd to 4th and Rick Zombo. Let's take Randy Mahler, former Florida Panther radio announcer, right? He was the guy that had the compilation of yelling movie quotes. Feel free to look up the Randy Mahler goal calls video. It's the... Oh, he was on a podcast recently. Let's go. I'm going to have to watch that. It's this video right here. Literally, he just does nothing but quote movies on goals. It's awesome. I'm going to have to watch that podcast, though. Randy Mahler. What a guy. What a guy. Do you still have Shane Doan? Not for long. Peter Svoboda for a 3rd, a 4th, and Randy Mahler. That is a done deal for us. I'm going to do the trade finder as best we can. And if we have to manually move certain players, then so be it. Right wings. No, we're still on defense. We also have to move Konstantinov. Millen in a 6th, a 3rd, and Mike Dunham. 3rd, a 5th, and Rick Zombo. We'll take that from Toronto. So Konstantinov off to Toronto. Do I have to listen to Jack Edwards in that video? You better. Jack Edwards is the GOAT. God damn it. He's the GOAT. Hockey world's going to miss Jack Edwards now that he's retired, I'm telling you. Bruins fans know what they're losing. The rest of you, you don't even know. You don't even know. Right wing side. Steve Thomas, you got to go. 3rd, a 4th, and Denny Savard. Ooh. McIver, a 4th and a 6th. Konstantinov. Semenov, Chodin. We'll take that 3rd, a 4th, and veteran Denny Savard. Steve Thomas, we're just going to keep racking up draft picks that way, too. If I have to move a bunch of people next year, we'll be able to do it. I mean, this is a risky approach to setting up this team for this next season. Shane Doan, a third and a fourth from a couple of different teams. Seems to be about the best we can get. I cannot send him to the Arizona Coyotes, but I can send him to the Buffalo Sabres. So we'll do that. Do you think those Bruins jerseys now being one-offs, they'll be rare one day or not really? Potentially. I mean, you never know, right? Because jerseys can be rare until all of a sudden a team puts a throwback jersey out and all of a sudden they're not rare anymore, right? Because you can just get the new version. The reverse retro program, for that reason, was a little bit rough for some people. Granted, most of them, they weren't, duplicates. All of them weren't duplicates. Shout out to Architect, by the way. While it was on the Sabres in 94, I'd always take him out of the lineup and put him Rob Ray.
Highly unnecessary.
Thank you for the 74 months. Hope you're doing well, handsome. I miss you.
For ruining a good piece of pizza.
Can we move John LeClair? No, because I'm not going to take that deal and then have to move more people. Ted Donato. Move him back to the Bruins for a second, a third, and Rick Natras. Looks like a second and a third is the going rate for Ted Donato. We'll send him back to the Bruins. You think my Mac Jones jersey will be rare? I hope so, because it means that my Mac Jones jersey would be rare. What year is this? 1998-99, I believe, is the one that we're moving into. We started off in 92-93. Hate to trade Miro Shatan, but he doesn't fit the team anymore. I can move him to the Sabres for 2 fourth-rounders. Although the Bruins are offering me a third-rounder. Jesus, his value is not what I would have imagined. Third and a fourth, Chicago. Nothing bad happened to the Sabres that year. Yeah, you picked a great time to show up. I can send Shatan to the Devils. Done deal. Perfect. I don't even care if there might have been better offers on the table. That's the place to send him. And then again, we'll have to move LeClair manually. And then center, we're okay. Okay, so if we can just find a landing spot for John LeClair in terms of maximizing value, we'll pretty much have our team set for the year. Shits and giggles, can I move LeClair to Philly? That's where he belongs. Looks like I should be able to get Philly's first round pick, which is good. What else can I get? How much can I get? Take out that second. What about a first and 2/3? No. What about a first and a third? Okay. What about John LeClair, a first and a bunch of late round picks? Nope. Take out the fourth. Take out the fifth. Take out the sixth. John LeClair for a first? Jesus Christ, I have to give up a pick in this deal. That's insane. Oh, John LeClair and a seventh for Philly's first rounder. There we go. So we have moved out a lot of talent, is the best way to put it. I mean, this team has just changed drastically. Yeah, we can go with Rick Natras as a depth defenseman. Probably use like one depth defenseman there. We are going to need some forward depth, which isn't often something that we lack, and then Denis Savard can be a healthy scratch. So that's kind of perfect. So we are almost done with the wheeling and dealing. A lot has changed. I hope this is going to work. In terms of the defense, who's the oldest? Ludwig, Jamie McCowan. You can bring in Jamie McCowan. And then we need a couple of forwards. Phil Bourque. We can also go with Hubie McDonough. An OG Shark. We started with him on this team. We will also go for Brent Ashton. And that should be good enough for now. All right, get them signed. Figure out the coaches, the scouts and such. We're almost there, baby. We're almost there. All right. So one more look. How are we going to shape up this year? Forsberg, Gretzky, Bure, Elias, Datsuk, Keane, Courtnall, Gilmore, Falloon, Thornton, Green, and Barnaby. It's honestly not the best group of forwards we've ever had, but the player types line up really, really well. We're just trying to get the max out of this that we possibly can. The defense, I mean, you got 4 out of 6 with an X factor. And then Patrick Waugh in goal. Honestly, they still might be too good. Crash, I wasn't using Playmaker Sniper Power Forward, so now I'm going back to it. It wasn't working before, so that's what we're attempting now this year. AHL still led by Max Savad, Danny Briere, and Chris Drury. Pavel Dimitra's still there. I mean, the AHL team is still very, very solid. Also, Snipe, shout out to you. You gave John Madden a very low starting overall. He's hit his level as like a 4th-line NHLer type. So, fair play. That worked out really well. Pody and Roosevelt, a couple vets in there. Yeah, the AHL team is still going to be pretty good. I did not sign the AHL goalie we needed, but screw it. I don't care. So who is the best coach for the job? Who will give us the maximum return here? I'm going to get rid of Panayi, because who gives a shit about you? So Bork, 67%. Scheme fit. Geispers, 55. Whitfield, 60. Oh, shit. The Throat Goat, 52. A good Sawchuk, 69 for Brandon Sawchuk. Well, there you have it. We have our man. We have our man. We just need to sign 2 AHL associates. Is that right? No, it wouldn't be Ray Ferraro. Give me the real people that have retired. You haven't done that. I guess they all have jobs already. Or just didn't become coaches. Well, let's go for Forbes as an AHL associate. Give you a bunch of money. As if Forbes needs a bunch of money. And then Aiden Hope. It's funny because Forbes says, that's what they do, but they don't need the money, but they talk about other people's money. It's fine. So, all of this to say, I'll do the boring thing of setting up the scouts in a second. What do we look like? By this game's logic, this is one of the better teams that you can build. If you're not going, purely off of overall. In terms of balance, player types, X factors. According to this game and how it likes teams to be built, you can't get much better than this. You really can't. By its own logic, Pavel Bure should be playing like a 101 overall. Defensively, +5 Pronger and Blake. We lose some of the pluses elsewhere. Technically, we could get a +5 with Chara and Brown, but we won't do that in the regular season. And again, we still have fucking Patrick Waugh in goal. Some great scratches. We do got to go best lines in the AHL again. Where we got a +4 Savard, Briere, and Langkow. If we put Drury back, it was a +5. So let's do that. AHL team looks great. NHL team looks phenomenal. I mean, I know it's a lot to change after winning a round for the first time last year, but we got embarrassed by Vancouver. Like, we needed changes. We needed to try to optimize Pavel Bure's output. We know what he's capable of with a 70-goal season. We got to get him back to that. Now that he doesn't have to share the puck with Paul Kariya, he should be getting back to that. We got 3 shut down forwards. Supplementary offense on the third line. The veteran line, really, because of Courtnall and Gilmore. Falloon's only 25. And then we got the grid on the fourth line. I mean, it's as well balanced of a team as it really can be, except every defenseman's a two-way. Can't wait for us to not make the playoffs.